Oh. What's up, guys? Sorry, I ran into some technical difficulties, but we solved them. We're back, and we got a VPN. So, no more ads, guys. You know how it is. Just give me like a minute. I'm gonna finish setting up the stream, and we're probably gonna end up restarting that Spider-Man video. If you guys weren't here, basically, it's a video on why this girl's saying that Spider-Man No Way Home isn't as good as everybody says it is. I personally disagree, but I want to see some of her points. So let me just finish setting up the stream, and we're gonna give that video a watch. We're gonna restart the video, so fuck it. Alright, I think we're fucking good, bro. I think we're good up in here. So, this is a video. No Way Home wasn't that great. Let's give it a shot.
It's not that big of a deal.
I like Spider-Man.
Copyright! Let's go! Copyright! Oh yeah.
So, let's pretend it's still 2021, because I have some things to say about this movie. Yeah, people really did enjoy this one. And you know
Yeah, of
what?
course.
Nothing feels better than seeing humanity taking a well-deserved break to have fun and unite around enjoyment
I
over
agree.
the piece of
I
meat.
agree. I think the world was almost at peace. The few weeks before, like I literally just mentioned this, but I think the world was at peace. The few weeks and the few months before No Way Home came out. For me personally, that was probably the happiest time in my life. The few weeks and months prior to the No Way Home's release, that was probably the most bliss and happy I've ever been in my life. Okay, and I don't think we're ever gonna reach that again. But in my opinion, I was so happy, and I felt like I was at peace with life. In my opinion.
Media after the hellhole that we all went through over the past 2 years. Only if I could share that excitement too. I really went back and forth with myself about making this video. I never
my
wanted to
God.
be that party pooper.
Toby!
Oh yeah, that
Toby,
thing you
chill!
enjoy, by the way, it sucks. Go dunk yourself into the
Okay, but why does it suck?
But what
Why
made
does it
me make
suck?
The final decision was that people did not just praise the movie, but also referred to it as some sort of a masterpiece.
Second coming. It is. It is a
It's
masterpiece.
easy to do that, since I feel like the term masterpiece today is being thrown around by people left and right. And, Your Honor, today, I will be going against what seems like the rest of humanity by saying an enjoyable movie with a few masterful moments is not synonymous with a masterful film. And unfortunately,
See, I gotta see these points. I gotta see the points that she's gonna bring up, because we're about to debunk every single fucking point that she goes against this movie. There's some parts that are kind of iffy, I'll be honest with you. Alright, I'll say them right now before she even says them, okay? The wish that Peter Parker made to Doctor Strange about everybody just forgetting about Spider-Man was stupid. If Peter just asked Doctor Strange to forget what Mysterio said, or what Mysterio basically said about Spider-Man, okay? And if people just forgot about Mysterio, then that would have just ended the movie. There would be no Way Home. But we need a No Way Home movie. So, Peter Parker's dumb. He's a kid. And he's like, you know what? I want everybody to forget who Spider-Man is. So, yeah. Yeah.
for me, I will be using No Way Home as a
What's up,
centerpiece
Sebastian?
for this
I see you in the chat, my
opinion.
boy.
Before I begin, I want to preface this video by saying that my reaction to No Way Home is something that reminds me closely of Endgame, because when I saw Endgame in 2019, I of course enjoyed the movie, all the great moments in it, but at the same time, going out of the film, I felt like it was kind of not so great.
Unpopular opinion, Endgame isn't that good, I'll be honest with you. Endgame is only... everybody, if you watch Endgame, you're only watching Endgame for that last, 30-40 minutes, okay? The rest of it, you don't really want to watch, okay? It's a 3-hour fucking movie. Most people like Endgame just because of that final battle. If it wasn't for that final battle, Endgame wouldn't be as good as what it is. Okay, I'm sorry. It just is what it is. I'm spitting facts, okay? And you could disagree or not. But, it is what it is, alright? That final battle was epic, and that's really why people watch Endgame, is for that final battle. Everything else is pretty okay. you know, America's ass. That's great. Yeah, the funny jokes are all right, but you know, it's all right. It's all right. Endgame is just all right. Okay, that's just my opinion. Yeah.
Especially compared to its predecessor, when everyone seemed to think that it was the greatest movie ever made, and
It's
that
not.
it should have
It's
been
not.
number one on every chart and every list.
No,
Even though I
no,
agreed
no.
that it was a great send-off for Avengers, I did not think that it was a great film, period. But I was also scared that if I shared that opinion, I would probably get stabbed. But the thing about Endgame today is that most people will probably agree that it was a fun spectacle and it was a great time, but it was not as great of a film as it could have been. And that's the exact same feeling I get with No Way Home. The sort of isolation from the rest of the fandom or people who watched it for feeling this way about the movie. But I also think that just like with Endgame, as the time goes on and the experience aspect of it will die down, people will be more prone to listen and agree with the criticism of it, which is definitely existent with this one. But
Yeah, I mean, there's critiques you can make with No Way Home. I need her to get into this, bro. I want to see what she says.
I'm definitely not going to wait around for another 3 years to say a critical word about the film, and I'm going to say it
Fuck
right
Canticle,
about
just
now,
say what you want. I
so
want to see what you
there goes
say.
your disclaimer, I guess. Before I start criticizing the hell out of it, I am going to start on a better note and point out some things I like. Oh, and by the way, spoilers ahead. It was fun and exciting when I could overlook the inconsistent writing, and unfortunately...
Okay, by the way, I gotta be honest, bro. William Dafoe carried that movie. He was, he had one film in the MCU, and he's already one of the greatest MCU villains. Like, dude, William Dafoe killed it in that movie. His acting's amazing.
This is probably the highest praise will go. And of course, I loved seeing Andrew and Toby and the dynamic between
Toby? Hey, yo! Did she just say call Toby Toby? Oh, that's just disrespectful, bro. I'm sorry. I want to dislike this video right now just for that.
the three bug boys. I like the gesture of Andrew saving MJ, however predictable and on the nose it was. The ending was quite promising, and as far as the nostalgia baiting goes, all I can say is that I actually appreciate the movie
Best
for
ending to a
actually
Spider-Man
trying to
movie, I don't care.
incorporate the characters and the plot lines from the other movies into the plot and the narrative of the story, instead of, you know, hey, look, Lando, and cut to him laughing and cut to black. But even though I appreciate it for trying, I still can't help noticing the obvious inconsistencies and plain stupidities that are caused by the amount of nostalgia the script tries to shoehorn into the story. And that
Alright, can we get into... Okay, let's get into this. Come on.
being said, Your Honor, if you may, let's cut to the actual
Let's go.
video.
Come on. Thank you. Finally. Jesus. How long was that intro? That was a 4-minute intro. Alright, let's go. Part 1. Peter Parker, boys. What do you think she's gonna say? What do you think she's gonna say? I guarantee you, I can promise you guys, she's gonna mention something about how Peter Parker's wish was super dumb. About everybody forgetting who Spider-Man was. She's gonna point that out. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. She's gonna point that out. I already know.
Hey,
Come on.
remember that one time that Peter tried to be a responsible young man and almost ended up killing dozens of innocent people unfairly while trying
Yeah.
to take more responsibility than he could bear? I
Yeah.
remember this scene.
Previously on Peter Screws the Pooch, I tell you to stay away from this.
Is everyone okay?
No thanks to you.
Damn, burn.
All right, the adult is talking.
Damn.
Died tonight. Different story, right? Because that's on you.
Ads on YouTube must be
Whoa! I literally have VPN!
so
I literally have a
annoying. So with
VPN!
3 clicks, you
What
can
the
install an ad
heck?
blocker and you'll never see
What
ads
the
again.
heck?
Step 1. Go to ad
I call bull.
Yeah,
VPNs don't
this
work.
scene where Tony literally shouts at Peter that sometimes taking too much responsibility, even for moral reasons, can be a heavily selfish act if it implies endangering lives of innocent people. Because if innocent people do suffer from your actions and your decisions, it no longer matters how selfless you try to be. Their suffering will be on you. Sometimes some risks are not worth taking, at least not alone. And that's how Peter gets to know that. Until he doesn't. Yeah, scratch that.
I don't really know what she's trying to say here. Like, what's her point? I don't really see her point.
Let's let out 5 mentally unstable criminals to freedom and
Okay, that was an accident, though. He didn't know. He didn't purposely He accidentally sent out 5 criminals. It wasn't on purpose.
put at risk the entire city because he said so. I don't know. Thank God Tony's dead. At the time, Peter was quite obviously shaken and traumatized by the experience at the ship. And even if that was not the case, you would think that at least Tony's words would cling to his small noggin for the rest of eternity. But nope, 20 movies later and Parker is still as naive as ever, except this time multiplied by 8.4 million or something. The Tony Stark had to spell this out for this guy, for him to go mature, learn, grow, go to space, fight with Thanos, and then come back and have a complete amnesia 20 movies later. And you might—
I don't really see her point. Like, I don't really know what she's trying to say here. Is she trying to say that Peter doesn't take responsibility or what? I really don't see what her point is right here.
be thinking, well, that's why he's so conflicted when Aunt May tries to force him to take responsibility, saying, it's not my responsibility. And that is not correct. The reason why he should not release the villains is not because they're not his responsibility, because by Spidey standards, they are, but because the risks might not be worth it. And even if he does end up releasing them, he has to be very careful about it. He could have kept them in cages and still helped them. These two are not mutually exclusive. I'm sad. I think it's a surprise to no one that the audience loves Doc Ock. They love Green Goblin. We know who they are and what they have
What is she saying right now, guys? I really don't know what she's trying to say.
been through. And for that reason, we're sympathetic towards them, because we know that somehow all of these villains have become villainous somewhat unintentionally. And the movie uses that same bias and sympathy towards the characters to manipulate us into thinking that because we are sympathetic and because we know for a fact that these people have good in them, so does Tom Holland's Peter Parker. I meant to say Aunt May does. With your permission, I'm gonna refer to her as a plot from now on. When in reality, in the context of the movie, no one in the cast has a damn clue why these villains are the way they are. The only thing Peter knows for a fact is that his alternative selves all battled with each and every one of them, which eventually got them killed, and now are sad and psychotic. And for the love of God, I can't explain how on earth he would ever think that these people could ever be redeemed. Both Peter and Plot.
Yeah, I guess I can kind of agree with what she's saying. She's basically saying, like, why should Peter care about trying to turn them good again? I also kind of agree with that. I don't know why he tried to turn them good again, just because it's his responsibility. He has to be the bigger person. Like, no, bro, like, you're gonna fuck up the multiverse, but in the grand scheme of the multiverse, these 5 people need to die, bro. It just is what it is, alright? I didn't really understand why Peter Parker tried to save. I mean, I guess it's with his character, and he's, you know, he's such a goody-goody, you know, but, like, I understand. I don't know why he would try to save them, because like Doctor Strange said, in the grand scheme of the multiverse, 5 lives have nothing, like, 5 lives are insignificant to trillions, billions, quintillions, sextillions, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't really know why Peter tried to save all of them. I guess there wouldn't be a movie, so I can see what she's saying.
That at least half of these people have ever been good, and of what they do know of, they just
big support from South Africa. What's up?
Octavius do not turn out to be prone to compulsive lying, along with their other obvious mental instabilities that led them to have criminal tendencies. For all Peter cares, all of them could be born as sociopathic, manipulative psychos. And we as an audience undoubtedly root for the antagonists, because we are not stupid enough to understand that without our already existent knowledge of them, this plot would not even make sense. Or maybe we're not stupid, but we are just unbothered enough to ignore how stupid the plot is.
That's true. That's true. I mean, that's true, but at the same time, like, if you're gonna go see a comic book movie about Spider-Man, I mean, Spider-Man is also literally the biggest superhero of all time. So if you don't know who the fucking Green Goblin is, and I mean, you don't even have to know who Green Goblin is. There's already been multiple movies on Green Goblin. Like, okay, most people that watch Spider-Man No Way Home have a very basic knowledge of Spider-Man. So I see what she's saying. Without knowledge of these characters, there really wouldn't be a movie, and it wouldn't be as good. And we're kind of ignoring the fact that we kind of need to watch all this. We need to know all this prior stuff just in order for this to be good. But that's kind of not true, because most people, I mean, Spider-Man, like I said, is the biggest superhero of all time, and I would assume the average comic book fan has a basic knowledge of Spider-Man and his villains. Okay, so I kind of agree, but I disagree as well.
But alas, it's downright insulting how this movie tries to use our knowledge and compassion for these characters against our own intelligence. It's like if in Endgame, Avengers went, you know what? We feel bad for Thanos. He sounds so sad and grumpy all the time. Let's just time travel back and help him get into art school or something. And yeah, I can already feel hundreds of people lining up in the comments to pinpoint that that's just who Peter freaking Parker is. It's what he does. He is naive.
I do agree with this point. I do agree. I also didn't really see why Peter was like, oh, I have to save them. I have to save them. Because at one point when he first meets, when he first meets Green Goblin, he's all like, oh yeah, Aunt May, I have to, we gotta send them back. I'm sorry, they just die. And then Aunt May's like, no, we have to save them. We have to do the right thing. We have to be the bigger person. But bro, Aunt May, I'm sorry, you're kind of dumb. Sorry, Aunt May, because in the grand scheme of the multiverse, 5 lives are insignificant to trillions, okay? So I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'd rather not have the multiverse go out of whack, or I'd rather kill 5 people than have the multiverse go crazy. So, yeah.
And young, and that's why he's so gullible and always messes up. But there's a difference between a script using a character trait to make a person more complex and a script overusing the said character trait to flatten the character by abusing and excusing characters' every single nonsense action by it. And if this was 2016, I would probably agree, but after Far From Home, that argument for this particular
Far From Home is an L Spider-Man movie, I gotta be honest with you. It's a filler Spider-Man movie. L Far From Home, the only thing that really continued Peter's story right here is his identity being revealed. Other than that, you literally do not have to watch Far From Home. It's pretty filler.
case could not be more wrong. We could all agree that Peter does act like a naive kid that causes him to do idiotic things, but we can also all agree that that does not make him an idiot who cannot for his life mature or read between the lines ever. And
that's what No Way Home is, though. That's what No Way Home is. She literally just said he doesn't really own up to his mistakes, and he doesn't really grow. That's what No Way Home is. That's, in my opinion, Marvel was fumbling with the MCU Spider-Man. Okay, they were fumbling. In Homecoming, he fucked up a lot, and he didn't grow from his mistakes. In Far From Home, he fucked up a lot, didn't grow from his mistakes. And No Way Home, finally, they fucking fixed it. They fixed his character. That's why I like No Way Home so much, is because at the end, he becomes a man, and he fucking learns from his mistakes. It's okay. You know what? Fuck it. I made all these mistakes, and it's finally peaked, and now all the multiverse is literally collapsing, bro. So fuck it. Make sure everybody forgets about me. I'm gonna live in a dingy ass apartment. I've learned from my mistakes, and now I have to suffer the consequences. And now he doesn't fuck with anybody. He has no friends. He has no family. Literally no family, bro. No fucking family, bro. No friends. He lives in a dingy ass apartment. Has to work a fucking shitty job probably, and beats up criminals on the side, bro. So like, Spider-Man's life sucks, okay? And that's why I like No Way Home so much, because it fixed the MCU Spider-Man. In my opinion, they were kind of going in the wrong direction, especially after Far From Home. I didn't really like that movie. But, yeah, that's what No Way Home was. It was, they course-corrected MCU Spider-Man, and he finally came to grip with all of his mistakes, and he had to finally be the bigger man and accept his mistakes and really own up to them. Yeah.
I'm bringing this up because in Far From Home, the exact lesson that Peter learns is do not trust people you don't know. Because sometimes people we trust might turn out to be psychos.
I know. I see what you're saying. I do. But that's why Aunt May dies, okay? But at least in Far From Home, he doesn't learn his lesson. But there's no consequences. So in No Way Home, like you literally just said, he doesn't learn his lesson, but this time there's fucking consequences, bro. This time his Aunt May dies. Hold on. Some shit's going down real quick, guys. I'm running out of space here on my hard drive, I guess. But yeah, Aunt May dies, and so now he has to finally comes to grip with the consequences. So, yeah. Yeah.
Manipulators, megalomaniacs. Well, he was meant to learn this lesson, I guess, because evidently he hasn't. Differently from No Way Home, in Far From Home, Peter's trust in Beck's character makes complete sense since Mysterio literally spends like half a movie gaining it. Because even though the script is aware of Peter's naivety, it does not treat him like an
What's up, Milton?
idiot. Even then, Peter's inexperience and Mysterio's manipulative skills cause Parker to miscalculate in his trust, which my friends concludes in this scene.
What?
You are so gullible.
What?
I mean, you're smart as a whip. Just
Sucker. So now all your friends have to die. It's easy to fool people.
Another ad, bro.
A house?
Dude,
Or a
I
laptop?
don't understand. I thought I have
Which
a
one do you
VPN. I
think
don't
is
know
worth
why we
more?
have ads. I don't really
Well, definitely
understand.
not the house.
And are you fooling yourself?
By the way, I disagree heavily with her point here on how Peter Parker didn't grow. Yeah, I disagree heavily. I mean, he did it for Far From Home, but it culminates. It all culminates in No Way Home.
I really am sorry.
Ooh, dead. That was a
And
good
here
scene.
I am to believe that after that whole nightmare that this poor child went through, not only he does not have any trust issues or PTSD, but he is also ready and willing to trust literal confirmed murderers for no reason at all, like 5 days after being completely and utterly betrayed, deceived, and traumatized by Mysterio. If his actions in Far From Home make him naive, then his actions in No Way Home within the context of Far From Home make him out to be a complete halfwit, because at the end of the last movie, he is no longer a naive child, but an experienced dude whose gullibility has cost him a lot of
I mean, dude, I was making some dumbass decisions when I was a junior in high school. Okay? I made some dumbass. I mean, I learned hella lessons, but I still was pretty fucking stupid. Dude, he's like 16, 17. Of course he's still gonna continue to make dumb decisions.
trauma in the past. No Way Home keeps using his youth as an excuse for his nonsense behavior, even though he's basically an adult at this point, who has been through almost the exact—
He's not an adult, bro. I'm not even an adult, and I'm older than that Peter Parker, bro. I mean, technically in the eyes of the government, I'm an adult. But dude, life teaches you so much shit, bro. He's in high school still. He's not an adult. I disagree.
experiences that he encounters in this movie, but somehow, due to amnesia or maybe a genius writing that I do not have enough IQ to comprehend, still has not learned a thing. Oh, he's also been to space, battled with Thanos, is a physician, mathematician, chemist, engineer, but simultaneously he has not enough brain cells to decide against trapping the men who saw 14 million different outcomes of Infinity War and helped Avengers choose the only one that would end in their victory, and who is the only helpful and competent person on this earth when it comes to magic, and who is willing to help instead of letting out 5 deadly criminals to freedom. I'm sad.
Part 2. Okay, she's about to go ham. I'm gonna probably agree with everything she says right now about Aunt May.
Okay, let's begin with an elephant in the room. If the elephant looks like an unapologetic goddess, a strong badass, and also a terribly written poor excuse of a plot device. In the past 2 movies, Aunt May was just there. Her connection with Peter was always
I agree. I'm gonna give a quick take on Aunt May before we continue. I like how in Homecoming she didn't know that Peter was Spider-Man, and then at the end she found out he was Spider-Man, which is fine. That's cool. But she kind of exploited the fact that he was Spider-Man. Like literally in Far From Home at the beginning, she worked for Feast, I'm pretty sure, and she's like, "Oh, welcome, come out, Spider-Man." She's like kind of like using the fact that he's Spider-Man just for her own personal benefit. I feel like if she was a responsible aunt, and how she is most of the times in the comics, she is against him being Spider-Man. But he has to do it anyway because it's his responsibility. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like how she just and then in Far From Home she packs his suit for him. I feel like that's an L. I feel like she'd be like, "No, like you got to take this break. Don't do this. Please don't be Spider-Man." I don't know. I just don't like the way how she basically was like, yeah, she was encouraging him to go do some dangerous shit, essentially.
evident, and more times than not, quite wholesome even. But she could barely even be considered to be a supporting character, let alone the most sensible one. May's purpose in the story was almost always centered around adding a familiar relatability factor to Peter Parker's everyday life. And it would make sense why MCU would decide to switch up May's and Ben's story arcs for obvious reasons, but it's as clear as day that MCU never actually made that decision. Well, not until Disney decided that they wanted to capitalize off of Spider-Verse's success, and now suddenly Aunt May goes from an occasional comic relief and a relatable embarrassing auntie to an entire moral and emotional backbone of Spider-Man because plot. And this last mood switch up causes the movie
Okay,
to
but yeah, okay, I see what she's saying about Aunt May. But in the comics, like that's all. Like, and she should be an emotional plot point. Like Aunt May should be an emotional plot point because that's all Peter Parker really has. Besides his friends, all he has is Aunt May to lean back on, and she kind of like supports him financially. Obviously, she gives him a roof over his head and shit like that. But like he has no family. Other than his friends, like I said, I mean, he's a nerd too. Like he should be getting bored at school. He doesn't. I mean, in the MCU, he doesn't really get bored very much. But yeah, like Aunt May should be an emotional plot point for him because that's all he has. That's all he literally has, bro.
Lie what's supposed to be the most gut-wrenching moment in the trilogy on the relationship and the character that was never correctly set up to have emotional impact of that magnitude, which in turn makes the emotional arc of the movie completely depend on the last-minute decision to screw Tony Stark and clumsily shove the quote to compensate for Aunt May's lack of emotional resonance with the audience. In the past movies, as Uncle Ben tells Peter, "With great power," I'm not gonna say the quote. It is done in a way that these words that initially flew over Peter's head were forever imprinted in his brain by the traumatic experience of losing his uncle by not following his advice. When Peter does not listen to his uncle, does not use his powers for greater good, does not take responsibility, it directly causes Uncle Ben's death. That is the reasoning behind Uncle Ben's death. He needs to make Peter see, listen, and prove his words to be true. And here's what bugs me with No Way Home's writing. It makes this movie to be a living, breathing contradiction of itself. You see, when Aunt May hints at this to Peter, Peter does not act like any other Spidey boy. No, this Peter is smart, this Peter listens to his auntie, this Peter does take responsibility, which directly causes Aunt May's death. Oh wait, if this Peter did not take responsibility and sent Willem Dafoe to hell, Aunt May would have survived.
I agree. Peter should have just sent them. I agree. No, I agree with that. But yeah.
So what was the lesson to be learned here? Because in the past movies, while Uncle Ben died to prove his point, now Aunt May dies disproving it, which hilariously makes her death a direct contradiction of her own words, which in turn devalue the moral lesson that Peter has to learn here, since if Peter did act like a responsible buggy boy, she never would have died. Oh, and
No, I agree with that. No, I do agree with her. I agree with that part. Like she did say earlier in Far From Home, he should have learned the lesson that you don't trust random ass people. And then literally, like she said, 5 days later, well, that's kind of when No Way Home takes place. She says 5 days later, he goes out and just because Aunt May says, "Oh, you have to trust them. You gotta do the right thing." He trusts these evil people who he knows that are evil, that are psychopaths, and he tries to help them. And in doing so, Aunt May dies. So, I mean, literally just by taking Aunt May's advice, she dies. So he should have done the right thing, and the right thing was sending them back. It's true, it's fucked up, but you know, not everything is good in the real world, okay? So there's some gray lines. So, you know, it's true. I agree with this one. That's a good take. I agree.
I'm not done talking about this quote, by the way. Is there a problem with hearing the quote used for a millionth time in these movies? To be honest, no, not really. These words are a huge part of Peter Parker's story, and without it, his character and writing is incomplete by all accounts. And that is exactly the problem. Every hero has to have a belief system, and that belief system in the story is created by the most crucial moments in their lives. For Peter Parker, in the past movies, that moment has always been Uncle Ben's death. Yes, a Spider-Bite gave birth to a Spider-Man, but Uncle Ben's words combined with his death were the ones that birthed a hero, in my opinion at least. But No Way Home does everything in its ability to underline the fact that Spider-Man still has yet to learn that lesson, which creates a paradox, since the experience and the words that were meant to create him never quite got through his skull right until now, which throws off the entire course of his own character. Not only this does not make sense from the character writing perspective, but it completely ignores almost all of Peter's story arcs in the previous movies. Take a look at the first ever introductory scene of Spider-Man in MCU, and this entire emotional arc with Aunt May has no impact, since one of the first...
Yeah, I do agree. I will say, her death, in my opinion, didn't really leave an impact. I really did not give a fuck that she died. I did give a fuck how Peter fell after that, how Spider-Man fell after that, because it was pretty sad seeing him hella down bad like that. But yeah, Aunt May, her character kind of sucked in all the movies, and it wasn't earned. Like, her death and the impact that she was supposed to have wasn't earned. If she did play more of like an Uncle Ben role, then it probably would have been more earned. But she was kind of just like a comedy plot device throughout all the movies. And then in No Way Home, she's about to die, so they have to throw in the great power with great responsibility words. So they did it. That's what they did. I agree. Yeah, I mean, Aunt May really wasn't the greatest character in the MCU, bro. Like, they kind of fucked her up a little bit. Oh shit! What just happened? I fucked up.
Man, but Uncle Ben's words combined with his death, this entire emotional arc with Aunt May, the exact lesson we were meant to believe he's meant to learn in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Another ad, bro.
Movies later.
Ads on YouTube must be so annoying.
I literally
With
have a
8 clicks,
VPN.
You can install an ad blocker and you'll never see ads again.
Look, when you can do the things that I can, but you don't, and then the bad things happen. They happen because of you.
So
Okay, yeah, okay, she's actually spitting facts right now. She literally explained how earlier, the great power with great responsibility thing works because, what's it called? Uncle Ben says it before he dies, and since Peter didn't stop the criminal, Uncle Ben dies. And he literally just said with great power comes great responsibility, but without saying those words. So that implies Peter already knew that phrase.
Peter has been living and breathing this saying since literally the moment we met him. But let's have a collective amnesia for the next 2.5 hours because plot! Even though me complaining about this quote might seem like a very nitpicky thing, but in my defense, this is the driving force of Spider-Man and the biggest moral message behind his character. The same message this movie completely cheapens just because they really needed to squeeze in a badly written, sappy arc right before the third act of the film. This lesson is too big of a deal for Peter for it to be so comically overused and shoehorned into his ears at every given chance and every time for him to act like, oh, never thought of that way before. The actual problem arises when not just the audience, but Peter Parker himself has to not only hear, but learn this lesson for millionth time. I think this quote is a great way to showcase the biggest problem in this movie. Look, if No Way Home was the first one in the trilogy, this would make sense, but it isn't. In order to achieve set goals, the movie neglects its own predecessors and lessons which Peter learned in them, and almost presses the reset button on his character. And at the end of the day, you end up with a Spider-Man who across every MCU movie starts over learning the same set of morals or lessons, which in actuality have been his entire driving force from the get-go, over and over and over again. And by now you might be thinking, well, who cares if the writing in this movie is not great? It's fun and enjoyable, and I love it.
I gotta say, the writing for this movie is probably like 10 times better than the average Marvel movie. No Way Home is leagues better than Multiverse Madness. It is way better than Thor Love and Thunder. It is leagues better than Black Widow, Eternals. Those movies are those are actually really bad movies in my opinion. But No Way Home, yeah, I agree. I agree what she's saying, but also what she's saying, what she's saying, like if she's complaining about No Way Home and what she's talking about, you also have to complain about the previous movies. So basically, she's Peter should have learned his lesson on the boat in what's it called in Homecoming, but he didn't. And so in Far From Home, he makes the same mistake. So she should also be critiquing Far From Home as well, not just No Way Home. It's kind of a thing that Marvel just has with it's kind of more. It's a fault that Marvel kept on going throughout all the movies. It's not just one movie that this happens. Like all this bad writing is in all the Spider-Man movies. So yeah, I don't know.
And I'll say, Your Honor, exactly. Okay, you made this far, so let's get to the real point of this video.
Show me Toby, show me Toby, show me Toby.
And the actual point of this video is not me shaming anyone for liking, enjoying, or even loving this movie, because I can't get behind that. It's not my intention to shame anyone for enjoying it.
Toby!
I'm not crazy and I do understand the appeal. And I'm definitely not going to pretend like I didn't cheer multiple times during it. But I am going to shame everyone who's going to confuse a few scenes worth of personal joy for a 2.5 hour long masterfulness. Was No Way Home an exciting spectacle? For many any? Obviously, yes. Was it a painfully flawed movie? Absolutely. Does one excuse the other? Absolutely not, even by Marvel standards. Something tells me that in few years, most people won't remember No Way Home for its flawless plot or amazing dialogue, creativity, mind-blowing action scenes, or character
Okay, that's kind of not fair. You can't really say, oh, in a few years. Because in a few years, nobody's going to really remember Infinity War for its amazing storytelling, even though Infinity War, in my opinion, is the greatest Marvel movie of all time. They're just going to remember the big battles and Thanos winning. That's what they're going to remember. But Infinity War actually had really good storytelling. That entire movie is pretty good. Besides maybe some of the Hulk stuff. Other than that, that movie's pretty good. It's literally as good as a Marvel movie you could possibly get.
Development. In my opinion, it will most likely be remembered for scenes that people will be able to easily search up on YouTube and watch all of it under 15 minutes instead of going through 2 hours of plot full of holes, with nonsensical elements, almost non-existent stakes, some terrible jokes, underwhelming action, overused CGI. If you take away anything from this video, I don't want it to be that No Way Home is a complete trash or a terrible movie, but that we should stop interpreting just a few minutes of joy as a 2-hour-long greatness. Because if a movie's biggest purpose is to treat itself and serve as a high-budget context for a few nostalgic scenes written by people who do their absolute best job at being the most mediocre, is going to be a new staple for the films if they want to be baptized as masterpieces both by box office and the audience. We are in for experience. That's for sure.
Is that it? That's it. Oh, fuck. I'll give it a like. I'll give the video a like. She brought up some pretty good points. I don't agree with everything she said, but it was pretty good overall. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, they did. I'm happy. I'm satisfied with the ending. I think she's right. The movie isn't as great as people make it out to be, and I think that is true. But at the same time, like, in my opinion, they course-corrected the fuck out of Spider-Man, the MCU Spider-Man. By the end of that movie, well, I guess it also depends on what they're going to do next with Spider-Man, but by the end of the movie, they give Spider-Man an amazing, he could have an amazing future, going forward in the MCU. So, I like that movie. That's why I like No Way Home, because it definitely course-corrected, Spider-Man, in the MCU. Next up, can I have some context on what's happening? Well, the video's over. We're about to watch another video, but let's see, what video should we watch next, guys? I got a bunch of videos here. What are we watching next? What I really want to watch is, do you guys know who Kwebbelkop is? How Kwebbelkop lost his entire audience in 1 year? I used to watch Kwebbelkop a lot when I was younger, but I haven't watched him in a long time, clearly. And apparently not a lot of other people have watched him, so I kind of want to watch this. Are you guys down to watch this? I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds to respond. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, nobody responded, so looks like this is what we're watching. I used to watch Kwebbelkop all the time.
If you're a college student like me, especially, you need Grammarly in your life. Grammarly is a digital writing assistant.
April 2020.
Alright, boys. How Kwebbelkop lost his entire audience in 1 year. Like I said, I used to watch this guy all the time, so I'm excited to see what this guy has to say and why he doesn't really get views anymore. Because I personally don't watch him anymore either, so yeah.
97.9 million views. April 2022, 8.5 million views. In the space of only 12 months, Kwebbelkop's viewership has fallen by roughly 90%.
That's bad, bro. If you're a YouTuber and this is what your shit's looking like,
Kwebbelkop's viewership has fallen by roughly...
Bro, just know if you're a YouTuber and this is, at this point, you should already be concerned and you should be, like, fixing shit. But if you're going all the way down here, that is not a good thing.
90%, and we're going to outline every single mistake made which has brought him to this unfortunate point. Now, to cut Kwebbelkop aka Geordie a little bit of slack, we need to specify that because he's a gaming YouTuber, some of this decline has actually been out of his control. We've explained in past videos that gaming YouTubers often have a very volatile career, as their view count is directly tied to the popularity of whatever game they happen to be.
That's 100% true. 100% true. That's why I've been leaning more into VR, because VR is much more of a niche. VR is much more of a niche kind of content on YouTube, and you don't see a lot of people, a lot of gaming creators play VR just because it's so niche and it's actually so hard to get your hands on. So that's kind of why I've been leaning into a lot of VR stuff. You kind of want, as a gaming YouTube, this is for tips for you guys too. If you guys want to start a YouTube channel, specifically a gaming channel, try to be yourself. Because if you try to copy another person, it's not gonna be good. Okay, I'm gonna say that right now. I used to do it. But I've kind of created my content more for myself. But you try to get into a niche and try to stick with one thing for a while until you get a little bit bigger. Like, for example, I was stuck with Naruto for quite some time, and now I've kind of expanded to do whatever I kind of want. It's a little iffy. Some videos don't get as many views as others, kind of like my Star Wars series right now. But regardless, I have fun with that. But that's why I've been leaning a lot more into VR, and that's why I get so much views, is because not a lot of people have VR headsets, and they want to see what the fuck's going on. So, yeah.
To be playing. We can see this trend when looking at Kwebbelkop's best month ever back in August 2019, when his channel would achieve a monthly viewership of 166 million. At the time, Minecraft was coming back into the mainstream, bolstering Kwebbelkop's content, whilst Fortnite was still in its prime YouTuber phase, giving him countless opportunities for fresh new videos. Since Geordie had no control over the popularity of these games, you might go ahead and call this an element of luck. However, almost everything else which was bringing in these 166 million views had been a result of Kwebbelkop's actions. For example, Geordie was a master at collaborating with other YouTubers.
I'm a YouTuber. I want to know more YouTubers. I want to get to know all the YouTubers. I want my friends to be YouTubers or people that are doing similar stuff.
This became most evident after forming a YouTube trio known as Robust, which included Kwebbelkop alongside two other familiar faces, Jelly and...
Damn it, hey, he's still got... Oh, Jelly. Dude, I remember Jelly used to have less. I remember Jelly... You guys can't see it. I remember Jelly used to have less subscribers than Kwebbelkop. Because I always remembered Kwebbelkop having more than Jelly, but I guess that's not the case anymore, you know what I'm saying? But this is why I kind of ride solo. I don't really collab, because I try to get people to watch my content for me, and not for people I bring on, you know?
Slogo Man. Kwebbelkop explained that his first viral video with over 14 million views was him, Jelly, and Slogo simply messing around on GTA 5. As their relationship strengthened, a video where Kwebbelkop simply met Jelly in real life for the first time gained over 12 million views. The trio were even picked up by PewDiePie's YouTube network Revel Mode, alongside Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, with the subscriber count of Kwebbelkop, Jelly, and Slogo being the best piece of evidence for the success they'd find as a trio. In addition to forming the Robust group, Geordie began dating fellow YouTuber Azzyland in 2016, with Azzy herself having a multi-million subscriber.
Damn, son! Look at all these people with these millions of subscribers, bro. Can I get some? God damn.
Account at the time, meaning that they could collaborate on various different videos, providing further growth for each creator. Yet the overwhelming driver behind Kwebbelkop's extreme viewership was without a doubt his laser focus on the content in combination with an unwavering work ethic. After beginning his channel, Geordie made a commitment to upload one video every single day, which he would continue for a period of over 9 years.
27th of August 2012, I said to myself, I'm never gonna miss a day of uploading, no matter what happens, and every day I'm gonna make a video that's better than the one before.
Additionally, all of his energy was being focused on one channel only, ensuring that the one daily video was always of the highest quality.
Every day I worked on it, every day I studied it, I watched tutorials, I read articles, I spoke to people, I practiced, and every day I made new videos.
And within this daily upload, it was obvious that Kwebbelkop's goal was to ensure the most optimal experience for the audience.
I was making videos that my audience loved watching, right? So I asked myself,
see, okay, so yeah, you should make videos on what the audience wants to see, but you should also make videos on what you want to see and what you want to make. That's what I learned from Mugen. I still get comments, and I'm literally seeing some right now about Mugen. Yeah, Mugen helped my channel a lot, and it definitely did, and I know a lot of people liked it, but I personally didn't like it, and I didn't like being referred to as a Mugen YouTuber, because most of the views came from Mugen, and that's cool and all, but I started to not enjoy it, so I wanted to get into other things, but if I posted other things, the views wouldn't be good because I kept doing Mugen. So that's literally why I stopped doing Mugen, because everything else I did besides Mugen wouldn't get views. So yeah, that's why I stopped Mugen. It's cool, and I'm also like not really into anime as much as I was like a few years ago. Obviously, I still care. Like I mean, actually, I'm not even watching anything right now, but I'll play some games every once in a while. But yeah, I don't really. That's kind of why I moved away from Mugen, because I just didn't want to be known as a Mugen YouTuber.
what does my audience love the most?
Each of those clips from Kwebbelkop's discussion on the Watch Time podcast also displayed just how switched on he was in terms of personal development and the correct attitude required in order to grow a successful YouTube channel. So if he had the correct attitude and mindset in order, why after 5 years of gaining an extremely consistent 100 million views per month did this number drop to between 5 and 15 million over the course of only a year? Well, in order to answer that question, let's begin by looking at a Twitter post made by Kwebbelkop in early 2020. Before things go any further, I want to address the rumors. After 3.5 years of being together, Azzy and I recently broke up. I have nothing but love and respect for this beautiful, smart, and caring woman. Please respect our privacy. Thank you.
Cap.
which was accompanied by a video approximately 1 year later.
Damn, see, I don't really understand this, bro. This is what I don't understand. Like, why does everything have to be so fucking public, bro? Just leave it alone. Leave the tweet. He literally did this for clout, bro. He literally, look at this. Look at the thumbnail, bro. He's fake crying. Oh my god, bro. Like, this is just, he does it for clout. People like this do this shit for clout. Like, the reason, I have a girlfriend, but you guys don't, most of you guys don't know that because I don't ever mention her, first off. Second off, even if I did, I would never make a video, oh, I broke with my girlfriend and have crying shit. I would even, like, I barely even let you guys know. I don't know. Like, I just feel like this is all for clout, bro. This is, let's see what he says. He's probably literally gonna say it's for clout.
Conveniently just before his views began to decline, explaining the reason behind their breakup.
Why did you guys break up? Well, as you guys might know, I'm from Amsterdam, the Netherlands, and Azzy is from Canada. And it was a long distance relationship. Once the honeymoon phase was over, we realized that we're two people from completely different places.
However, it would still be a little far-fetched to blame Kwebbelkop's decline in viewership on nothing but this separation. Sure, he had one less person to collaborate and make videos with. However, if we take the date of Geordie's separation announcement, March 2020, and placed alongside his view count at the time, he actually went up in views after breaking up with Azzyland.
That's what I'm saying, boys. This is what I'm saying, guys. Girls are gonna hold you back, okay? So, ditch your girl, start a YouTube channel, this is what's gonna happen. You just grow. I'm just playing. To an extent. Just kidding. Damn. And so literally after this is where he peaked, and then he started to go downhill from there.
And of course, there were other factors at play during this time, such as people being at home and therefore watching more YouTube due to the pandemic. Yet, as an overall, the data doesn't really suggest that this breakup had much of an impact on his eventual decline in views. However, it wasn't only Azzyland that Kwebbelkop would stop making videos with. After 5 years of filming together, the robust trio being Kwebbelkop, Jelly, and Slogo would also slowly disintegrate. Instead of playing with Geordie, who was busy making various reaction videos, Jelly and Slogo replaced him with a different YouTuber by the name of Crainer, which was noticed by fans on Reddit. The last thing I remember was that Kwebbelkop was playing Minecraft with Jelly and Slogo Man in Robust Town. Now everything has changed. Jelly and Slogo Man replaced Kwebbelkop with Crainer in a new Minecraft server.
Damn, bro, he got replaced. He was like, they were all, hey, Jelly and Slogo, they were like, hey, yeah, this Kwebbelkop guy isn't getting enough views. We gotta switch him out. Damn, that's crazy.
Kwebbelkop made his own solo play, and right at this moment, he's only doing reaction videos. What is going on? Anyone got the explanation for it? Why is he now not playing with his friends anymore? Why isn't he playing games anymore? Is he gonna maintain it like this, or will he come back to his own self again? First, he took down the vlogs.
Okay, see, I don't know what this whole own self, that's basically implying that Kwebbelkop has to make the same exact content for years and years and years. But that's just not true. I mean, people change. I mean, also reaction content is like kind of blowing up right now. So when people expect you to make the same content literally until you retire from YouTube, it's just absolute cap. I hate that. And I get that a lot, especially just for Mugen and stuff like that. Obviously, I literally get it every day, but I'm nowhere near as big as Kwebbelkop, so I don't really understand why people change, bro. And that's just how it is. And if you don't want to watch that person's new content, you don't have to. That's, you know, it's your right. You don't have to. Just leave it alone. You don't have to complain about it. That's just my take.
But then he stopped playing with friends. As this became an increasingly common discussion in Geordie's comments section, he'd upload a video titled Why I Left Jelly and Slogo, explaining that as a—
Look at that, same thumbnail, him crying, that's unnecessary, the crying part's unnecessary. I'm sure this is a happy video and he just explains, I just don't want to do gaming content anymore. He doesn't have to do all this, it's just for views, all for clout. It's all for clout, guys. All these big YouTubers just sell it for clout.
As a result of making video after video with the group, each of which following a similar narrative, Kwebbelkop felt as though he wasn't growing due to a lack of creativity.
I saw that my creativity was running out. I was just doing things with the group. I was going into that direction. I realized that I stopped growing as a person and that I just stagnated in life and I was just doing the same thing.
Geordie—
Okay. All right, hold on. So he's claiming that they were holding him back. He was claiming, so, okay, that's not exactly what he said, but you can kind of interpret what he said a little bit. He's basically saying that he wasn't growing anymore as a person because he was making videos with Jelly and the other guy. Bro, read a fucking book. I don't know, go outside, go touch some grass. You can change as a person and still make the same content. I'm sorry, that's an L.
He also explained that at around the same point in time, he'd become depressed, which made him feel as though he was holding the group back.
I ended up getting a depression, which I've never, ever said anywhere publicly, but it was also holding them back because I couldn't give them—
I'm gonna say something a little controversial here. I would probably say 80% of people that claim that they have depression. Now, honestly, I don't know Crumble Cop. He probably did. He might have. And I don't mean to name drop or anything. I don't mean to shit talk or anybody. But, for example, Etika. You can clearly tell Etika was depressed, okay? But I would probably say, especially nowadays with how people are, I would probably say 80% of people that claim they're depressed aren't depressed. They just have to go do something else. They're probably just doing nothing. Crumble Cop is a different story. I mean, he has a lot of money, so, you know, I would say most people are depressed because all they're doing is like scrolling through their phone all day, digesting all this bad content, seeing all these negative things, and constantly having negative thoughts. I would probably say that's why most people are depressed. So, I mean, if you are depressed, I'm not a fucking doctor, but I would say go outside and touch some fucking grass. Maybe do something with your life other than scroll through TikTok all day. Play some fucking video games. Go outside, hang out with some friends, do something active, go to the gym, try to better yourself, okay? That's why I try to kind of change my slogan to go touch grass, bro. Go out fucking side. But, I mean, for example, Crumble Cop, I have no clue. He probably could have been depressed. I don't fucking know.
Them the energy that they needed to make these videos good.
And as a result, he began to participate in fewer and fewer recordings.
It wasn't a clear-cut, bye guys, see you tomorrow. And instead it was me joining less and fewer recordings.
From this point onwards, Quabblecop was